As one of the original 3 eeveelutions, it goes without saying that Vaporeon is one of the most popular Pokemon out there. Eeveelution fans are everywhere, and trust me, I learned the hard way that they don't like it when you say anything bad about their beloved eeveelution. In this video, we'll be talking about the water-type eeveelution Vaporeon and why it isn't used as much in Generation 7 Smogon Competitive as it was in previous generations. If you guys enjoyed this and you want to support the channel, make sure you guys leave a like as it helps a ton, and of course subscribe if you haven't already. Also let me know in the comments down below what your favorite thing about Vaporeon is. To give a brief history lesson on Vaporeon, it didn't start out so hot in Generation 1. It sat in the UU tier at the time as people opted to use other water-type Pokemon such as Starmie and Slowbro, largely due to their superior move pools. It's also important to note that UU was the lowest tier at the time since there wasn't very many Pokemon to pick from. This changed from Generation 2 to Generation 5, however, where Vaporeon sat in OU for the majority of that time, except for a tiny little stint in BL, which is basically OU anyway. Interestingly enough, in the transitions from Generations 1 to Generation 2, along with the special stat split, Vaporeon technically lost a little bit of its special bulk, however it gained access to some helpful moves such as Shadow Ball, Roar, and Baton Pass, which we will talk about more later. Moving on to Generation 3, Vaporeon gained access to the ability Water Absorb, making it immune to water-type attacks, which is a pretty nice buff. In this generation, Vaporeon solidified itself as one of the top water types for many years. Skipping ahead to Generation 6, Vaporeon gained some new toys with moves like Wish, Scald, and Heal Bell to name a few along the way. It only got better, but at this time in Generation 6, it fell to the UU tier for the first time since it was introduced in Generation 1. The release of newer Electric-type Pokemon such as Heliolisk and all of the Electric-type Megas we received put some extra stress on Vaporeon, on top of older Pokemon which rose in popularity at this time in Generation 6, such as Roserade and Whimsicott, due to how much the game has changed in that generation. Vaporeon was still one of the better water types in the game, but this is where it began to fall, and it fell from grace pretty much as fast as it rose up to it. In Generation 7, Vaporeon suffered a huge drop, falling all the way down to the NU tier. Similar to Slowbro, like we mentioned in an older video in this series, the release of Generation 7 water types such as Toxapex and Tapu Fini caused a lot of the older water type Pokemon to be used less. Another big and controversial change happened in Smogon's Clauses, as the move Baton Pass was banned entirely. This was a pretty big blow to defensive Pokemon such as Vaporeon, as it was pretty common to run a set with Wish and Baton Pass in order to take an attack with Vaporeon and then go for a slow Baton Pass into a newer Pokemon to get the Wish off on that Pokemon. This was ultimately the nail in the coffin for Vaporeon, and it's one of the many reasons why it fell down to NU. Even with everything that's happened to Vaporeon over the past few generations, it is by no means a bad Pokemon, and it's still pretty decent, just not as good as it once was, unfortunately. Like many older Pokemon, it just wasn't able to withstand the test of time, as a lot of newer Pokemon tend to outclass the older ones, and the older ones usually have a harder time adjusting to the newer game mechanics. The introduction of Z moves as well also hurt a lot of bulkier Pokemon like Vaporeon, since pretty much any Pokemon in the game has access to a really strong move, which can still do a lot of damage to defensive Pokemon. One positive about Z moves for Vaporeon, however, is it now has access to the move Z Celebrate, which boosts all of its stats by 1 stage. This is a pretty good Z move to have. Sadly, Vaporeon can't Baton Pass these stats anymore off of Z Celebrate. It's a cool little trick, and if it was able to Baton Pass them under the current Smogon rules, I think it would probably still be in the UU tier. And that's essentially why nobody really uses Vaporeon anymore. And went from being a mediocre water type in Generation 1 to one of the better water type Pokemon from Generations 2 through 5, and then it slowly fell from grace to where we are today, where it's just okay. It's not a bad Pokemon by any means, but sadly it's just not as good as it used to be. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys leave a like if you haven't already, and of course subscribe with notifications turned on so you don't miss a future upload. Thank you guys so much for watching, have a great rest of your day. Let me know in the comments down below your favorite thing about Vaporeon. Me personally, that water absorb ability, so good to have, adding that water immunity. And I will see you guys next time. Have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.